I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lads It's Tottenham podcast. I'm having a bit of a disaster tonight because the caller has ordered a Chinese for his tea. It's literally just rocked up. So you will excuse me if I go off camera for a few moments to stuff a chicken ball in my mouth. And I'm joined tonight with the eating enablers. HG, how are you, sir, from Vienna?
I'm picturing the chicken ball in the mouth, to be honest. I'm all right, actually. I'm all right, and I feel like going back to work, has finally become the norm again, and the and the weeks are going quickly, and life is good. Spurs are winning, which helps.
I mean, 3-3. What's to be not liking about that? Stuart, it's great to have you back on the show. It seems like forever since we've done a show together.
Yeah.
Any chicken balls your end, or you all eaten for the night?
No, I had enchiladas earlier.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Made. Very good. Helped soak up some of the alcohol from last night.
well, that sounds good. And you were at the game, Qarabag.
I was
yeah.
after a very arduous journey from Bristol, involving trains being stopped because of a casualty on the line between Bristol and London, getting a taxi from Swindon to Reading, Elizabeth line into central London, an Uber from central London to North London in pouring rain and some of the worst traffic I've seen in London in a long time. It was horrendous, but managed to get there. Thankfully, they delayed kickoff, because I think if they hadn't delayed kickoff, I would have probably arrived a little bit late. But yeah, it all worked out okay in the end, and then we got the win as well.
It was a shocking night. I've just had my chicken balls brought to me on a platter. There's some chips there, chicken balls, noodles, rice.
What you have chips with your Chinese?
Apparently, they must have just come with it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What a heathen!
I'm happy. I'm happy for said chips. I'm all right with that. But they weren't on the order, so maybe it was an apology for being an hour late. I don't know.
No, maybe.
Good old traditional Chinese food. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. It'd be great to shout you out. We've got 38 people watching already. We've only been going 4 minutes. Please do smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. And if it's any United fans, we did try and get Mark Goldbridge on. Sorry, he's too angry at life to come on the show tonight. But, there you go. You've got us three instead. We can do a Mank impression.
I mean, to be fair, like, we are as much Man United fans as he is. So
that's true.
Oof.
Yeah.
Look at that, watching from LA, HG. Look at that. I was shouting.
I know. I should have met him when I was out there.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
worthy of a definite shout out, that one.
Marcus watching from Singapore. Wonderful city.
That's winning.
That's pretty cool place.
Australia.
There must be really nothing to do in LA or Singapore right now, sure.
I love Cornwall. Nice pasties. Let's talk Qarabag. While I take my... It's looking at me. Let's talk Qarabag. Stuart, talk us through have a chat with HG about Qarabag. I was excited to see a slightly stronger lineup than Coventry. As you must have been as well. And, going down to 10 men after 7 minutes wasn't ideal, but they did the job. So, have a chat through that.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of the lineup, I was pleasantly surprised. Oh, not surprised. I was happy with the lineup. We did need to go strong just to make sure we got a good result last night. And it was a good mix of a couple of the young guys like Bergvall and Archie Gray, and even I guess Drag is in as well because he's only 21 still. And I was really happy. I thought, we're going to do all right. And then I was actually able to be sat in my seat before something went wrong this time. Wasn't as quick as the Brentford goal, but Dragazin got caught out unfortunately, and I don't know. It's a bit of inexperience. I don't know whether anyone could have caught their player, or we maybe just tried to disrupt him a bit less than trying to haul him down, which he did. And I don't know, HG. Do you think it was worthy of a straight red? Because it was about halfway through their half.
Yeah, no, it's a straight red. Always. I mean, like he gets beaten, and then rather than just allowing the guy to run through on goal, he hauls him down. It's the thing is, I can't say it's inexperienced because he played Serie A, he played in the Euros, he captains Romania, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's not like he might be young, but you would expect a little bit more street smart from someone who knows. Okay, like I've made a mistake, but what I can't do is get sent off because that early on, you get sent off, you're out of that game that you're playing, and you're also out of the next game. You basically get yourself a 2-match ban. And bearing in mind how Qarabag went on to finish the rest of their chances, you probably would have missed anyway. This is what Spurs do, right? I mean, we don't do anything easily.
No.
So, but yeah, it was. I mean, to see Dragusin start, okay, good. Like he needs games, right? I think it's only his 7th start for Spurs since he joined.
Impact, wasn't it? It was him getting sent off, so he's not getting the minutes he needs and probably wants. And then poor old Bergvall gets hauled off, which I was really sort of gutted about because he's not going to get many minutes in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully he'll start next week. But he looked generally gutted coming off, which, is unfortunate. But, thankfully we managed to get a goal pretty quickly.
Exactly. And to answer Malber 2000's question, I think it's just the one game. Okay, so obviously he missed most of the game he was sent off for, but then he'll miss next week in Hungary as well.
Romero's back, right, next week?
Sorry? Romero's back next week, yeah. So we can play our best players again.
Yeah.
Yay! But yeah, I think what I liked most about the way we started the game, or at least with the lineup, is that it actually felt like a mix of the players we expect to see start and the players that we don't see too much of. And Spurs have never really got that balance right. So a friend of mine asked me before the game if Spurs were playing their backups, and I was like, no, not really. Like the front three is pretty much the best one we have right now.
Yeah.
And like in midfield, some start, or they start some of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like Bissouma and Sarr, I think started the first game of the season, so they're not backups per se. And okay, in defence we only had one normal of the back four, but that's all right. Best keepers there. It felt like a pretty good side, and yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know if we'd have won 3-0 if all 11 had stayed on the pitch, but it's nice to know that okay, we can still we can rest a few. Like Porro had played probably every minute of the season so far.
Yeah,
it was a chance for some of the players to get on the pitch, and it all worked out. But it was an interesting first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think we definitely needed to do something quickly after going down to 10 men, because I think if that had dragged on, I think Qarabag would have sort of got even more confident, because they did play pretty well in most of the game. They were, moving the ball around pretty well, got some really good positions. It was just, almost like us, their finishing just wasn't on it. So the fact we managed to get that sort of goal through, with the resurgent Johnson.
I think surgent is enough. I don't know about resurgent.
No.
When did this happen before?
I interrupt this Chinese to bring you a broadcast. Brennan Johnson, you have come of age. 2 goals, 3 goals.
3 goals.
Games. Yeah.
And 3 important goals. 3 important goals, I think. The thing about that goal,
Qarabag beautifully.
The goal last night, I thought the telling bit was that he hit it first time, and he didn't just hit it with hope; he placed it. So there's a bit more confidence in him at the moment.
Inside of the boot, it was lovely. It was similar to his finish, dare I say, against Coventry, which was cultured, calm, cool under pressure, and then his goal against, the comments are flooding in now. HG, anyone would think I'm goading you. Goal, Premier League at the weekend was a fantastic strike, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Brentford, fantastic strike. HG.
Yeah.
Whilst I munch on my remaining chicken balls, Brennan Johnson, say you're wrong. Say you apologise. Oh, do the decent thing. I did. I hugged his dad after the goal. Would you hug his dad?
Well, after you slagged him off for like most of the game, you then realised you were standing behind his dad. And we're like, oh, yeah, he's good. He obviously got that from his mum, right? Look, I can sit here and say that Brennan Johnson is now scoring, and I can sit here and say that is better than what he did before. I can also sit here and say that, well, if you did want to put a caveat, he scored against Coventry's reserves when they were knackered. You can deny that if you want, but I think that's
I'm not denying it. He's still got to score the goal.
He's still got to score. I mean, it was a good finish, but I think I don't think the 3 goals in the games that we've had is enough to change my opinion of him. I still don't think he can beat a man. I still don't think he can cross the ball. I don't think he can pass the ball. However, if you give him a position where he doesn't really have to think and there's no defender anywhere near him, he can score. Because that's kind of what happened, right? The goal last night, ball's played to him, first time finish, no challenge, no slide tackle, defender barely tries to block it, right? Goes to the bottom corner.
Time. That's why.
Can you imagine him taking a touch? We'd be like, no!
That's what I mean. That's what he would have done before.
Yeah, and then the goal against Brentford, I will openly say, brilliant finish. Absolutely brilliant finish. Took a touch that no one expected him to take, including the defender. So the defender was already half on the ground when he struck it, and it was low, and that's a good finish. I can't deny that. But if you think about what he's done outside of those 3 moments in the last 3 games, I'm still not convinced. I remember last night the chance that Qarabag missed just before half time, where the guy was basically in front of goal and put it wide.
Yeah.
That's because the man who crossed the ball was Johnson's man, and Johnson just never tracked him.
Yeah.
Just kind of ambled back. So I can sit here and say that, the finishes are good and there are good parts to his game. I will also sit here and say that I still don't think he's good enough. And I'd like to see a bit more. He might be lucky at Man United that Man United will attack, and so he can, play on the transition, which is what he's good at. But if we're trying to break down teams, he doesn't have the quality on the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are the sort of games that we need to see him impressing. Is games like United away, Brighton away, because they're not going to be easy games. So he's got to turn up. And I think I do agree in terms of.
At what point will you apologise
for what?
For the besmirching. The character assassination of Johnson. You call him Boris Johnson.
I do. I said he's the worst right winger since Boris Johnson. I think that's a fair comment.
He's 3-3. His finishing's been clinical. There's no disagreement about this. Johnson has arrived. He has arrived at Spurs. His goal contributions and assists last season were outstanding. Give the kid a break. Stop calling him Boris.
An assist just
Johnson.
An assist just means you passed it to someone else who did the work.
Oh, he definitely think. Look, we all know, he can improve and he can be better. Whether he can reach those levels or not is another question.
I will say this, right? There's a comment here from From King Hoddle, right? Certainly good enough for the squad. Do you know what? If there was a world where we had the amount of players that I think we need, then Brennan Johnson as number 20 on the team sheet, I can see. You come and bring him off the bench against tired legs, he might hurt a team. But I am very unconvinced at the idea that Brennan Johnson as a starting right winger will get Tottenham to where I want Tottenham to be. And I don't mean winning the title. I mean challenging for top 4. I do not see it. Now, he may well prove me wrong, but I'm only basing it on what I've seen so far. I didn't really rate him at Forest. We don't play the style of football that really suits his game. And I think we need better. That's not really going to, until he starts crossing the ball with any regularity and quality, until he starts beating a man, he just takes it half a yard on the outside and it's pretty much always blocked out for a corner. There's not really much guile to his game. So if you are watching, since you're not on Instagram anymore, Brennan, maybe try and add that a little bit. Make yourself a bit less predictable. And
I think a good example of a player who's the sort of player I would like us to get to is someone like Adeyemi, because I've just been watching Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of player who will take someone on, take it into the box, or take more than one player on. And that's the sort of person you need to try and break down teams or win a penalty or create chances in the box, like you said. Because otherwise, and if you're not going to take a man on and you're either relying on crossing from quite wide, that means you've got to be really good at crossing, which he's not at the moment.
It's like he's got
three corners. So I do get it. I mean, we can't say there's no better right winger out there, because there absolutely is.
Yeah.
In it, and until we get someone to be that person, I don't know who. I mean, and unless you put Decky out wide, where it seems Decky is working way better when he's more inside now, in terms of his impact on the game. Who else could we use at the moment? I don't know.
And this is it. Like right now, our attack. I can't sit here and say our attack is toothless, because we're scoring goals. I mean, we got 3 last night. We got 4 against Everton. We got 3 against Brentford. You score 3 goals, you win every game, right? So we can score. I just think the question is, like, do I trust us to score 3 goals against Arsenal at home? Do I trust us to score 3 goals against Man United away? No, I still don't, right? Do I trust us to keep a clean sheet? And that's not Brennan's job, but do I trust that? Not really. So I still think there's clearly potential to get better. Yeah. But I don't think his ceiling is good enough for what I want Spurs to be. I think I think he's going to. I mean, I still think the idea is he will be a mid-table Premier League player, have a very good career, play 100 games for Wales. Like, he's clearly not terrible, but Spurs, in the way that Ange wants to play, we won't see the best of him. Because
Ange is the guy that signed him, so he must think he can do that, right?
Yeah, you must do. I mean, this is it. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of nonsense about Ange out for the last. I mean, it's died down obviously because we've won 3 in a row.
Funny that.
Like, I know, isn't it weird how that happens? I just feel that, like, it's Ange's willingness to sign Werner twice and his willingness to spend money in the areas that he has that is the concern for a lot of people. You know, because, like, you know, buying Van der Ven is good. We've bought some decent players, but our attack, where we've spent money, still looks like kind of paint by numbers. Oh, he's a right winger. We'll put him there and hope it works.
This was an annoying thing for me last night watching the game was, and especially live where you can see more than the TV coverage is showing, is that both Solanke and Son looked absolutely shattered at about 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we went 3-0 up, both him and Son should have come off, and Lancashire and Moore should have come on, because with 3-0 up, we've won the game. And instead, again, we're bringing Werner on ahead of Moore. Why? And why are you waiting until the 82nd minute, I think, until he took Solanke off, and then he still
doesn't think Moore's ready, does he, Stuart?
Sorry?
He just clearly doesn't think Moore's anywhere near ready.
But I think those are the opportunities to do it. I'm not saying he has to come on at, you know, when it was 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever, because there's still a lot of jeopardy in the game. But when we went to 3-0, that was the opportunity. And it's not even just to give people like Moore and Lancashire minutes. It's to get Solanke and Son off the pitch. If Son had come off the pitch 10 minutes earlier, he probably won't have the injury or little knock that he's now apparently got, because he was hobbling around for a while.
I mean, to be fair, though,
hamstring and stuff like that, and then he's obviously then gone down on the pitch just before he's subbed off. So
to be fair, that could be a blessing in disguise. Could be a blessing in disguise, because Son's been horse shit most of this season.
Needs a rest. He looks absolutely knackered. He can't track back very well because he just hasn't got any pace. He can't seem to take anyone on because he just doesn't seem to have the energy to take someone on.
Has he not got pace? Because he closed Pickford down pretty rapidly.
I know he has, but what I'm saying is he looks knackered right now. He just looks spent.
He's got to the Neville Southall stage of his career where he looks less knackered at the end of a game than he does at the start.
Big
I used to
Nev.
love that. Love that about one for the old ones there, but yeah.
All he needed to do was stand in goal. He looked shattered.
Yeah.
If you're a millennial or a Gen Z, look up Neville Southall. Yeah.
I will say there's a comment here from Jim, and he's on at me a little bit, so I feel like I can put this up. Yeah, like complaining about his crossing. I'm not really complaining about it. I'm just saying he's not very good at it.
Yeah,
right. That is the fact to me.
Look at the stats for that.
So, scoring, brilliant. Thank you. I'm super grateful that you're scoring the goals because you weren't doing that, and now you are, right? And we all need goals. But Caller obviously brought it up because he wants me to go off on one, and I still don't think, sadly, that he's good enough for what I want Spurs to be, and I don't think he will be. Now, again, he can prove me wrong, but
is
based
that
on what
position, at what point will he have to? At what point, if he scores 5 in 5, 6 in 6?
No, it's not about goal scoring. That's the thing. To me, I don't really expect. I don't think he's ever going to become Mo Salah and score 30 goals a season from the wing, right? And that's fine. I don't think those players don't grow on trees. It's just that if I want wing play, we are going to play low blocks quite a lot, right? The way that we play football, teams will retreat. We force them back anyway because of how we play. Weirdly enough, if we had Conte in charge, or if we had Mourinho in charge, and we needed some threat on the break, Johnson might be a better fit. But right now, it's like we push teams back, we take away the space that clearly he needs to thrive, and it's a role-playing position for Spurs. If in a certain point of the game, he might come off the bench. If the game is stretched, he could be more useful. But I don't trust him with the ball at his feet. And first-time finishes, don't really change that. There was a first-time finish at Coventry. It was a first-time finish last night. So look, I'm not down on him. I just think that Spurs need better. I don't see that as massively negative on Brennan. I just think that Jim gets it. So maybe we were saying his crossing was crappy. Yeah, maybe. How long does he need? Are we just here to give kids chances? We're a massive football club with revenue. Do you know what I mean? It's we'll give the 18-year-olds. The 18-year-olds have barely played senior football. Brennan Johnson's played Premier League football for 2 seasons. He's played international football for a number of years. So the age, I get it, right? But it just feels like, okay, well, next year will be good. Next year it could be better. With Spurs, why are we talking about next year? I don't understand that.
This is a strange comment. Stick Neto there instead, and he isn't scoring for us. What?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Neto's quality.
Oh, Neto's warming the bench at Chelsea, so maybe he's wishing he had signed for us.
Yeah.
Well, I think his bank balance is probably saying he's quite happy.
Yeah. Look, I think the whole Johnson thing. I think we can go on about it for hours, but the simple fact is that he's all right, but we know there could be a better person in that role for this system. Yeah. And I think it's a bit naive to say, oh no, because that's ridiculous. There is, out of all of world football, all the players that are out there in that position, if you had to rank them out of 10, where would Johnson sit on? I don't even think maybe top 10.
No, we don't even have to. We wouldn't have to spend 70 million to sign someone better. I really believe that. As awful as that sounds, I don't think so. So look, I want him to improve. We all want him to improve. I'm happy it's happening.
I'm glad he's doing
it. If I'm going to change my mind on 3 goals, no, I won't.
Yeah, it's got to be at least 20, right, HG?
Sorry,
it's got to be at least 20.
20 goals. I know it's almost like
you got to change. If he gets 20 goals this season, you're eating humble pie.
But but if it's 20 goals like the ones we've seen, then it's because players have put him through and he's had a one-touch finish.
Why does that matter? The type of goal shouldn't matter.
Oh, no, but if we're talking about quality, but I think, and I say this, I think most fullbacks could score first-time finishes from 8 yards out. He didn't do anything special. I think it seems special because he's doing it, right? But let's face it. Do I think that Christian Romero would score that goal last night? Yes. Do I think Pedro Porro would score that goal? Van der Ven, yeah.
Brentford, would they score that goal?
No, I said that was a really good finish. But again, we've seen it once in a year. Like, he doesn't really shoot very often. Like, I'm not going to bring up the other things that happened last night, but I just, like, 3 goals, the 3 goals we've seen in the last 3 games won't change my opinion. If he starts beating people, if he starts showing crossing ability like Perisic had, then yeah, I think he's a great player. But, Perisic could have had one trick and was very good at it. So
step over and go, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see what Johnson's got. But I'd like to see a bit more guile. I'd like to see a bit more quality. Like, to me, it's no different than Werner. Werner could have scored those 3 goals. I've no doubt about that. Doesn't mean I think Werner's very good.
I have some big doubts about that.
Actually. I don't think he would have done.
Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Well, no, I just want to claim full credit for the resurrection of Boris, for the fact that I whispered some sweet words into his dad's ear at Coventry to pass on to Brennan, and clearly he's listened. So onwards and upwards for Brennan Johnson.
There we go.
Carries on the goal scoring at United.
Qarabag, Stuart. So overall performance, pretty good job done in it. Dragoshin's an idiot. I know we covered that. And no brain there. And comes with a man bun. Johnson resurrected.
It could have been a banana skin game. Even before Dragosin got sent off after 7 minutes, it could have gone horribly wrong after that. We controlled the game. I'm not going to lie. They had chances. They had a lot of chances. They just didn't put them away. Vicario pulled out a few very, very good saves. Obviously, they skied the penalty, which was funny considering I thought it was a very soft penalty anyway. But overall, we controlled the game.
It was. I mean, there was a bit of discussion about this. Steve Diver, who's clearly tanked up, was like, "No way, that was a pen. No way." I thought it was a pen. He kicks him first, and the HG. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I thought it was a pen. I mean, the thing is, the challenge doesn't need to be made. Again, it's poor decision making from players that you would hope don't have that in their system. I mean, I know that Bissouma's had a few off the field issues, but on the pitch, he tends to be somewhat smart. But yeah,
he wasn't good for most of the game.
Yeah, you're 2-0 up. You don't need to make that challenge. You just don't. So yeah, like I mean, Stuart's right. Like, Qarabag are no mugs. They played Leverkusen a number of times last season and almost beat them. Came very close. And yeah, it's a team that we know nothing about. So we really don't know like whether that was good last night for them, whether that was normal. But they seemed very technically good. And
forward, he was rapid, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Juninho.
Yeah. But like Europa League games, especially now with the system they now have, like wins at home will get you where you need to be, right? Yeah. And so Qarabag, I think we're in pot 3. So it was like the second easiest home game. Brilliant. We got 3 points. We got 3 goals. We're 4th in the table, and we can go on to Hungary next week in a great position. Like, nobody wanted us. Like, we could have easily lost that game last night, the way it started, and I didn't want to go to Hungary next week needing a win.
Yeah.
So right now, Ferencváros, because they lost their game, they need a win.
Yeah.
So that should help us too. So like, there were plenty of positives, not just the result. But yeah, like I think in many ways the game last night was very similar to a lot of Spurs games this season, where we did okay, but other teams could have hurt us more than maybe they did.
Yeah.
Conversely, we're also helping our chances of a Champions League spot next season, aren't we?
Very true. Yeah.
Because if we can get 5th, then it looks more likely this season because of the way that the format is. Partly because the Champions League teams not dropping down to the Europa, etc., etc. We 5th could be up for grabs for Champions League, couldn't it?
Yeah, the same system as last year. And we'll see what happens. Like, obviously, United didn't win, which doesn't help. But we've got, I think, 1 team fewer, which means that our points are, average will be higher. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm still not cheering for Arsenal. Sod that.
No, I hope we don't have that bloody situation again.
Yeah.
One last point I just wanted to make on Qarabag was good old Mickey van der Ven. Jesus Christ, that guy he's just incredible. The amount of times he was recovering and taking out the defender from the other side of the bloody pitch is insane. And I am very, very concerned about him getting another muscular injury because he's just so rapid and he's doing so many recovery runs. I just hope he can sort of maintain it because, you know, he's going to be playing 2 games in 3 days, and then who do we rest him for against?
Goes back to the window though, Stuart. We should have bought a good left centre back. You know,
I know, mate. I was caught. That was the thing that I was desperate for, was another left centre back, and touch wood, we might look at that in January. But I think I was chatting to a guy at the game last night, and I think the thing I am a little bit annoyed about is some of our squad management again has been a bit like some of it doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, we didn't have any centre backs on the bench last night. Obviously, that was a little bit enforced because Romero was banned, but you don't loan out Phillips. That's an option. He's not that bad a defender where you can't, in that scenario where you've had a defender sent off, you can't utilise him. You know, the fact there we go, like Michael Zheng said there, the fact we've left Spence out for whatever, I don't understand that. I will never understand that one unless there was a really particular reason why they couldn't pick him. So I was a little, I'm still a bit baffled about some of those decisions, and hopefully we can muddle through until January and we can make any little tweaks we need to make. Because the games, like I was looking at the fixture list, it's relentless now for a couple of months. Midweek games all the time.
Yeah, like the only way we get a week off is if we lose in the EFL Cup, which we don't want.
No.
So yeah, it's sorry, I cut you off. Keep going.
No, so that was it really. I'm sort of happy to move on if we want to.
No, I don't know. Like I'm happy that, like, I mean, it's been a good week, right? It has been a good week. We've won 3 games. I think we are 10th in the league, so we're basically mid-table. But I guess the platform is there to push on. We beat United, okay. Then we're looking for much higher up the pitch. We're kind of where we want to be, which is 5th, 6th, 7th, where the team's still gelling. Like, obviously the players that we did sign in the summer either haven't had much minutes or they're still new to the club. I mean, I know Odobe is injured, but he only signed a month ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it feels like, because the games are now coming quicker, we almost forget that it's not that long ago that we signed these people.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like, we are 1 or 2 injuries away from catastrophe. And
I think based on who we're currently missing, I think if we drop another couple in a certain areas of the pitch, we are going to be in a real muddle situation. And I think if we can just get through to the October international break, which is after next Sunday, then again because I think I've heard that Odebear's likely to be back after that. Richarlison's apparently he started doing pitch
Has
work.
anyone seen Richarlison? Where is Richarlison?
Well, he was doing pitch work today because Sky Sports had some footage of him out. He was on his own. But I think most of that situation is all mental health based more than physical. So I think that's going to take whatever time it takes, unfortunately, for him.
Well, we look ahead now to the weekend's fixture, drawing a line under Qarabag, sendings off, resurgence of Johnson, and looking forward to a lovely trip to Old Trafford. Good time to play him, HG?
I mean, with Ten Hag in charge, it's not a bad time to play him.
It's funny you should say that, right? Because I'll just share this. I text my mate. My mate texts me saying, "You're good at getting tickets. Can you get me some Coldplay ones?" I'm like, "Probably not, mate. I'm just doing a YouTube preview for the Man United game." He's a big Man United fan. Used to be a season ticket holder. And he went, "I hope you stuff us. I'm done with Ten Hag."
Yeah, I mean, the thing, I always feel that Man United have a good 11. Somewhere in there is a good 11 where they've got a decent defensive midfielder and they've got a box to box and they've got Bruno who always will create chances. But I don't really trust Ten Hag to pick them. Like, if he was to play Zirkzee up front and Rashford on the left and maybe Garnacho down the right, I'd be a bit nervous. I think that's good enough to hurt our defence, especially Rashford. On his pace down.
He started against FC Twente, and it didn't work for him.
No, is that the 3 that started? Those 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the possible lineup that I've seen on doing the rounds today for United, Unana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, Ericsson, Mainu, Diallo, Fernandez, Garnacho, and Zerki.
If that's who we've got, I think we'll be all right. It'll be hard. Of course, it's going to be hard. It's Man United at Old Trafford. We can't take that game lightly. But I think that there's massive pressure on this game for Ten Hag. The amount of stuff that I've seen of fans turning now after the result against FC Twente, and more the manner of the way that they conceded that goal, and then the whole thing of he's not making the right subs and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of fans turning on him now, and the pressure will be there for them to get a result. And I think if you're a team that's under pressure to win a game, potentially that helps us because they're going to probably want to be more offensive to get the goal or whatever, which hopefully can lead us to, take an advantage. But their midfield is still a mess. I mean, they've signed this guy Ugarte, who most of them were like, if we sign Ugarte, he's going to solve all our problems because we won't have to use Casemiro. But you're still making the same positional mistakes, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. I feel like Jim.
Yeah,
because if you look at our record at United, I know we won 6-2 under Jose, COVID era, no fans. Drew their 2-2, I think it was last season. Our record at Old Trafford is miserable, isn't it, HG? Miserable.
I mean, obviously the 6-1 in COVID times is a lovely memory, and we won there. I think when Harry Kane got the header and Mora scored 2. But again, that feels not that long ago, but it is quite a while ago now, like 6 years or something. I don't expect us to get anything, but
yeah,
I mean, like this is like the way that both teams have started the season. Spurs will play better and not win.
Yeah.
Right, 1-1. That's it. And I don't think it. I'm not expecting Spurs to wipe the floor with them. Although we could, we definitely could.
I mean, Johnson's going to score out fun, isn't he?
I hope he does.
Yeah,
I hope he does.
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, like, a game at Old Trafford is probably the best chance for him. Like, I worry, as I said, about if we're playing teams at home who sit back and defend. United won't do that. So he will have space, and he'll be up against probably, I guess, Dalot.
Yeah, he's not an actual left back.
No, so it's there for him.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just don't see that this will happen and this is one of the reasons I think we will struggle, because I don't think that they will play expansive football. They don't generally play expansive football.
I don't think they've got a choice tomorrow, mate. I think that the pressure's on him to win the game, really win that game. So I do think that they will come under a lot of pressure to play in a particular way because the pressure's on him. A lot of fans don't think he's going to make it beyond the international break. I
read an article that apparently in the summer, the owners at Man United they spoke to Solskjaer and said, "Would you be interested in coming back?" I mean, if that's true, like they're clearly looking for someone else. The only way that Ten Hag keeps that job is if they are in the top 3 or top 4 for a lot of the season. I don't see that happening. Yeah. So
we know who the replacement is. HG, it's Rude. You're not going to leave the PSG manager job to become coach of Man United unless there's some kind of thing there that says if he goes, you're in. That's the only thing I think is going to happen. Whether that's just till the end of the season is another thing, but he will be the guy that they'll then start managing the club if they get rid of Ten Hag, 100%.
Okay. Heard it here first, or second or third, I don't know, but that's a good idea.
What 11 do you think we're going to put out, Stuart? Pick your 11.
God, see, this is where I think this is the problem now, is that because certain players played probably more than they probably would have done last night for whatever reason. Right, I'll go with, obviously, Vicario's going to start, Porro's going to start, Romero's going to start. Hopefully, Mickey's okay. He'll start, and then Udogie. So our natural first choice back line. I'm torn between Bentancur and Biss because I think if Bentancur's going to get a really long ban, he needs to play whenever he can. And I think he was rested last night, so I'm assuming that he's going to start this one. So who was the midfield against Brentford? It was Bentancur, Kulusevski,
Madison, yeah.
that was probably the best I've seen our midfield play, and I think if that's worked that well against Brentford, I think we need to stick with that and keep some consistency there. So then we've got Solanke's got to start, and then it's going to be Johnson on the right. We don't know what's up with Son. I think for the better of Son, I think we need to not start him. So we'll see. It's going to be Werner, isn't it? There's no one else senior who could start on that side.
That's a danger. That's a worry. I think Sonny will be fit. He always seems to pull through.
I just think it's becoming a real mistake. He's going to end up getting an injury, a worse injury, the way he's going.
Yeah. Just interesting point you raised, Stuart. Solanke. So he's a couple of goals now. Both tap-ins. Let's be honest, I could have scored them. But HG
first time finishes. It's a sign of a quality player. I thought we decided that earlier.
Yeah, he's in the right positions though as well, and I think that's what he's good at. He's got a good sense of where to be to get that little tap in.
Well, that's what I'm coming on to. So, HG Solanke, have you been impressed with him so far? Does it look like £65 million well spent? I
mean, if you're talking about do his goals impress me? No, but his overall game, yes. Because I saw a comment earlier, I think from Kerry, where it's a team game. Clearly, Solanke has the ability to hold the ball up. He does put players into decent positions, and he's in the box when he needs to be. I don't think he's a world-class striker, but if the team is functioning, I mean, as Johnson maybe proves, we don't need world-class, right? The team can do the job. So, do I think he's worth the money we paid? No. Do I think we needed to spend that much money on a player? Probably not. But he fits, I think, Ange's system better than some of the other signings we've made. So it's good. But the team that Stuart went with, I don't really think we have much choice. The choice is in midfield, and as Stuart said, the midfield. Well, we did well last week, so why not keep that up? But yeah, the
question is, do you want to be more pragmatic about it? Because playing Kulu and Maddison is very attacking.
It is, but I suspect that if we're going to win, we're going to win 3-2. We're not going to win 1-0. I don't think that Pap Sarr's going to go on a run of 3 games with a goal in every game. So again, Kulusevski to me has probably been the best player we've had. I mean, and not just in the league, but pre-season he looked good. He seems on it and happy and enjoying his football. And so I feel like Maddison played really well last week. Was probably man of the match. You've got to play those two. Yeah. And I don't think that Kulusevski will play wide. So it's very much who plays behind those two. But considering Bentancur had a pretty good game last week, there's no reason to change it unless injury or illness forces our hand.
Yeah, I think given how much of the game Biss played last night, I'm assuming that it will be Bentancur, but who knows? Yeah. There might be other reasons around it.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. You see, I could see Bentancur and Bissouma starting. I do think that might happen with Maddison. Because
the only way that happens is if Johnson's going on the left and Decky's
push Kudo out wide.
Which could happen.
Because he's going to give you a lot of work rate.
Yeah. He was great last night when he came on. He helped calm the game down big time when Decky came on. Because he just managed to keep hold, because we were losing the ball a lot, and he's brilliant at retaining the ball.
Yeah. And I think when we were more like 4-4-1 when the first, when the red card happened, and when Decky came on, it was very much more of a 4-3-2. And Decky liked to go wide to find the space, but when we were defending, you're right, we had a midfield 3 that kind of sat and tried to keep the ball in that area. So Spurs don't have as many options as I'd like us to have, but we do still have a couple of options. And why change a winning team? We don't need to. Maybe the team that plays in Hungary will be maybe Porro won't get a rest, but maybe Van der Ven will. We don't know. But if we make a couple of changes for the Europa League games and go strong, we should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like you said, mate, I think if you put in a good performance in the league and you've got a really good result, because it wasn't just the result against Brentford, I thought that was our most consistent performance across 90 minutes. Why change it unless you absolutely have to? So the only one that he potentially has to change is Sonny. So
Yeah, I mean, and do we really respect this Man United team? Like, they could turn in a performance and beat us comfortably, but what are the odds of that happening? Is it just like Spurs kind of paranoia and nervousness that we think it could?
We have
Because
to have a poor game for them to up their levels at the moment.
Ericsson is apparently having a resurgence.
He was awful against Twente, mate.
Well, that's not what I'm hearing.
Goal.
That's not what I'm hearing, Stuart.
I mean, that goal that Twente scored was just comical.
Was
I still can't believe that was the goal. That's how they scored it. Like Ericsson, like we know he's not really a midfielder. They're having to play him there, and well, they're not having to. Ten Hag has decided that Mainu is probably the most defensive player they've got, even though he's not really defensive, and that Ericsson is probably the best passer they've got, even though his legs are well and truly gone, and he can't really help Mainu, and Bruno is Bruno. Right, he's not really going to help in those areas. So, like, if we win that midfield battle, like Bentancur, Madison, Kulusevski should wipe the floor with those three.
Yeah, and again, that's why I would start those three.
Yeah, and I rate
more legs. They've got more energy than the United midfield. So, and that's where it's going to be won, I think, in the midfield.
Like, I really rate Mainu. I think he's a very, very good player, but he can't do what he's being asked to do. It would be like us, putting Bergvall as the 6 and hoping he was the best defender. He could hold that role. It just won't happen. So, I think if we go for it, we have a better chance of winning than if we don't.
Yeah.
To dare is to do. King Hoddle saying Bassoon was terrible yesterday. Absolutely terrible. I didn't think he was that bad.
I don't know what game King Hoddle was watching.
I don't think he was that bad at all.
He made the mistake giving away the penalty, but other than that, he was disrupting a lot of their play, doing a lot of good stuff. I definitely wouldn't say he was terrible.
I think his passing was
yeah, he made a couple of dodgy passes, but in terms of breaking up their play, he was great.
I'll be honest, like it was a late kickoff there, but over here, like 9:30 to start a game it was crazy. I kind of lost interest a little bit. I wasn't really paying a huge amount of attention to what was going on, but I don't feel like any Spurs player played particularly well. We just took our chances, and so the game became a bit of a walkover. The result was last night was all about the result.
Yeah.
Right. Like how we played was kind of irrelevant, and that's the same of most games, really. But I just felt like we got the goals we needed to. We walked. We left 1 minute past the game finished, and now we're thinking about Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Bruno Fernandes tends to turn up, though, doesn't he, against us? I seem to remember him having a couple of good games, Stuart. He's probably the biggest worry for me, and I think there's some debate as to whether Højlund is coming back from injury. He may well start.
Yeah, I think he came on midway through the second half against Twente, Højlund. I think one of their most dangerous players on Sunday will be Xerxes, because he's got a bit of a way of being very good at linking in with the other players around him. So I think we've got to be really on our toes around that, because obviously if Rashford turns up, or Garnacho, stroke Ahmad, whichever one they start on the right hand side, then if we're not switched on, then yeah, that could potentially be dangerous. But again, I think the biggest thing we've got to do is not concede a goal after bloody 30 seconds or something like that. We've got
off goal, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, we want the United crowd to be booing Ten Hag rather than cheering on the team. Right?
I don't think it would take a lot for them to turn. Honestly, I really don't at the moment. He's not far off now.
Well, both sets of fans will be travelling up the M1 together, so lots of time to think it over. Gray was really bigged up in the game yesterday. Now I watched the game yesterday, and I've got to be honest, I didn't think he did anything particularly spectacular. I think he's a good young talent, but I think everyone's after that. Yeah, he's the man. It's 40 million well spent. It seems like we're trying to find a lot of reasons to justify the fee, and for me, that was £40 million really badly spent. Might eat my words in 3 years' time, but
you have to wait. You might have to wait 3 years. I mean, that is the key aspect there. No, I was impressed with Gray pre-season. I think I was actually impressed with him at centre back, which is where he played some of the games there. So he's willing to run forward with the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like that, we talk about the Man United goal they conceded, where the fullback just went forward and basically created havoc just by running with the ball. Gray has the ability to do that, and the desire. Like he backs himself to make those runs. And there was a comment about whether defensively we're still not sure. Well, yeah, why would we be sure? He's played one season at right back, and he's been a midfielder the rest of his career. So it's a gamble that we're relying on him to be like Porro's, I guess, main competition. But you can't. The price tag has got nothing to do with him. We just hope that he gets used to playing at a higher level. Like to me, Qarabag at home is a more difficult game than any championship game because it's a different style of football. Like at 17, you can run, you can be aggressive, you can keep up with people. But when it's a technical one and it's a positional game, that's probably quite new to him. So he will get more opportunities, but I don't think there's any reason to think that he's very good or that he's very bad. He's just,
well, he's 18.
He's still getting used to playing senior football.
He came on. He started at right back, and obviously had to deal with the fact that we went down to 10 men after, 7 minutes, and kept their players largely quiet, and we didn't concede a goal. So I'm not too sure what more people are expecting him to be doing. As a right back.
What are you expecting, caller?
I've still
got the primary goal of a defender.
I've probably still got a little bit of Coventry bias etched in my memory, where he was absolutely terrible. So I've watched him a few times. He's never really impressed me that much, if I'm being really honest. And I think people are just blowing smoke up his arse a little bit and wanting to justify how the money and the prospect. Look, the reality is
article by any stretch.
Hey.
He's not a finished article by any stretch.
No, by any stretch. Any stretch. He's not good enough to be a Premier League regular. So for anyone who thinks that, all these idiots, they get all their little phones on Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of it. They're like, Gray should be in the side ahead of Bissouma. You're idiots. You're absolute idiots. He's nowhere near ready. And I think that...
Caller's high on his sweet and sour sauce. He's going for it.
No. I've been on the Ricky Gervais vodka. What is it?
The Ricky Gervais vodka.
The Ricky Gervais vodka. I had to buy a bottle of vodka to get a ticket to his gig. So, look, I think people are just getting well carried away. He's got high potential. I'm not denying that. But I think in terms of a Premier League regular at the moment, give him minutes in the League Cup. By all, give him those Europa League minutes. Because he needs to develop. But, if we're looking for a finished article, is he better than Bissouma? Absolutely not. Is he better than... he doesn't get anywhere near our midfield and he doesn't get anywhere near our right back.
Not right now, no.
Hopefully, things will change. And that's probably why it was such a shame that Bergvall didn't get the minutes that we all... he expected, but we all want to see, because I feel like there's more of a groundswell among Spurs fans that think he could offer something, despite them being basically the same age. You look at Bergvall and there just has been a bit of like almost like this is his pitch. When he's on the pitch, he looks like he belongs, and some of them just they don't get that straight away. So the game in Hungary, I really hope he plays the full 90.
He's going to start that game. He's got to, really, hasn't he? Because he needs the minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it could easily be Bissouma, Sarr, and Bergvall that play the Europa games in midfield, and Bentancur, Madison, and Kulusevski play the Premier League games.
That's pretty good.
I don't think. Who am I forgetting? Is there one midfielder I'm forgetting? I don't know, because Gray right now looks penciled in as to be a right back. So it's
because I think we can't use Spence in Europa, so it makes sense to utilise Gray as the backup for Porro, especially in Europa or. For the cups, and then you have Spencer's backup in the domestic cups if you want to.
That's really a shame that Spence can't play in Europe. I mean, it's 8 games that he almost certainly would have got minutes in.
Yeah.
And like I get that we didn't have enough space to pick everyone because of the rules, but a backup goalkeeper that probably forced over Spence is incredible to me. I don't understand. I will never understand that logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought that Gray stunk the place out at Coventry, Forster,
Oh,
Yeah.
next
really
freaking
bad.
level. Yeah, I just think that we just get a bit carried away a little bit as a fan base sometimes.
Yeah.
But equally in the opposite direction as well, and knock people down. I mean, look at poor old Brennan Johnson, for example. You've got people like HG on his back all the time. So here's my question. I've got a couple of bets on this with Man United fans. Who's going to finish higher in the league this season and why, Stuart?
I think it'll be us. I think we will add a couple more faces in January, and I think once everyone is fit, I think we have a stronger squad than United that's more balanced, and we've got a much more sort of structured way of playing, which is more consistent than. Yes, we haven't got all the results that we wanted so far this season, but in terms of consistency in our play and stuff like that, I think that bodes well better for us in the long run of this season than the state that United are in, which is always seems to be on the verge of another manager turnover, especially now that the new owners are in, who are, getting tense, shall we say. So I'm going for Spurs.
HG, who's going to finish higher?
Well, if Ten Hag stays, we do. But that's the question. If Ten Hag stays, if he doesn't, then they get someone else in. You don't know, right? But chances are, if he goes, he's going sooner rather than later, which means the new man will have half a season, if not more, to try and turn things around.
Contract.
Yeah, but Man United don't worry about that. They gave him a new contract because it was like, well, we couldn't find anyone that we liked more, so we're just going to keep you. I mean, it was just, it wasn't a massive vote of confidence to keep him, considering what they did to try and find a replacement. Yeah, it's. I don't really worry about Man United, if I'm honest. I don't. I know they've got good players. I know they've got individuals. I feel like they have more individuals who can win them points than we do, right? Like Rashford could score a screamer. Bruno Fernandes could get winning goals. They might be more likely to keep a clean sheet than we do. So you might see a couple of 1-0s for United that maybe they don't deserve, but they managed to get over the line. But I deep down, I do think Spurs are, I do think we're in a better position, so we should finish higher than them.
Well, they finished 8th last season, right?
I think so. Yeah, they only got into Europe because they won the cup. Yeah. And 8th is probably fair, because Chelsea are better than them. Newcastle finished higher, and I think Newcastle are probably better than them. When it comes to squad and team and everything, really, they have the finances to turn it around. And I think they did make a few decent signings this summer, Man United. But with Ten Hag in charge, I don't think that really matters.
Yeah.
Right? Like a good manager can, take some bad signings and create something good. But I think they made some good signings, but I don't rate Ten Hag. I never have. So I suspect that they will be 8th or maybe even worse, with Brighton coming through and other teams.
Yeah.
Interesting. Look, some pivotal fixtures ahead. I think the season could hinge on the next 3 games, so it's going to be exciting. Stuart, what's your prediction for a score then?
I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs.
I'm glad you added the to Spurs bit at the end. That was good. HG, what are you saying?
Hang on.
I'm going to caveat that for the viewers. So HG, I'll make a prediction. Will deliberately go contrary. Man United to win 2-1 because he likes to try and put the kiss of death on it, so it works the other way.
Okay. My predictions are almost always horrifically wrong. Not just
Brennan Johnson.
Slightly wrong. No, that's not a prediction. I think that. I can only really seeing it being a draw, right? I do think that Spurs will probably be the better side, but United will have better individuals who can get them the goals, and it's 1-1, 2-2, something like that.
Yeah, I think I've got a Desmond on this. I think it's going to be a draw. I can see it.
How many predictions are you going to make here, caller?
Well, I haven't made one yet, have I?
You just talked about Man United winning to be contrarian.
No, that was what you were going to do.
Oh.
I believe that it'll be a Desmond or a 1-1. I can see us having to. If the trouble is, if we go behind in the game, which quite often we do, let's be fair, we're chasing and then we're more open and then we're like, I can just see us having to chase this game and getting a second half equaliser. If we go in front, I think we win, but I don't see that happening because I just think we're so weak defensively. If you're Man United, you're looking at two things: hit them on the counter, and they've got the players to hurt us. Rashford being a fine example, Garnacho, players with pace who will exploit the high line that I dislike quite a lot. And then the second thing is you've got Vicario on corners, with his Donald Duck hands, so we've got absolute. I wish I could do a better Donald Duck impression. That it would come off much better. Let us know in the comments if you can do a Donald Duck, and we'll absolutely have you on the show just for that. But it's worrying when we're frail like that, and it worries me at Old Trafford. They've got quality, and I think King Hoddle says it best here: we never bloody win there. So I think that's the threat, and for that reason, I see us chasing the game and getting a scoring draw. One of the Man United fans I work with said, I think it's probably going to be 0-0. I was like, you haven't seen Tottenham this season, have you? There's no way we're keeping a clean sheet. Literally 0 way. But it's refreshing that we're talking about, a week ago, just over a week ago, we didn't know where the next goal was coming from because we're horrific in front of goal. So you never know what's around the corner. Maybe lots of clean sheets. Who knows?
Yeah, like if Tim Sherwood can lead Spurs to victory there, so can Ange. Right?
Did Tim Sherwood win there?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we were really good there last season, and I'm pretty sure both their goals were from cock-ups on our side.
That's almost every game, isn't it? But yeah, like I remember Bentancur's goal. I don't remember the rest, if I'm honest. I really don't. But it just it's all on Spurs. Like if Spurs start the game well and get the first goal, you guys are right. We'll probably go on and win. Maybe by 2. But if United get any kind of momentum, they could easily turn 1 into 2. And we can't allow Bruno Fernandes to have any time on the ball. Like we need to press him because he will find those passes that gets the wingers behind our fullbacks.
Yeah.
Right? And then we will be in trouble. Like Bruno to me is the key man because he can create and he can score from nothing and he can just drag United over the line. And I don't look, the set pieces, De Ligt might, is a threat.
Yeah.
But I just feel that, like, as much as we don't have many options, we should still have a better first team than United.
Yeah.
So we've got to make that dominance or that pressure that we exert count.
Maybe that'd be a good thing to do for Twitter, HG. Put a combined 11 together. See how many United players get in.
Okay.
Go on, Stuart. What were you going to say, Stuart?
I was just going to say, I was just looking at the game from last season, and we conceded after 3 minutes. So let's just try and not do that. I think that's a good start. We'll go from there.
We say that, but Brentford, and then Qarabag sending off. It's just hard, isn't it? It's hard being a Spurs fan. It's hard being a Spurs fan.
We love it.
But we love it, exactly. Look, if you're watching tonight on Twitter, I'd just like to say, get over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We've got channel memberships on there. You get part of that community as well. There's lots of good things about being part of YouTube. We've got over 100 people watching on Twitter right now. So please do that. If you are already watching on YouTube, please do smash the like button. It encourages other people to come and discover the channel. And absolutely follow us on our Twitter handle. It's on the bottom at It's Tottenham. Look, gents, thanks very much, HG, for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for covering my Chinese eating break as well.
Yeah, you need your energy, Caller. We know that you've got a tough life. So
it's hard being me, trust me. Gonna go and watch the rest of the Vince McMahon documentary, I think. Stuart, thank you for watching, for being a part of the show.
I've been watching as well.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of the show. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
No problem.
And as ever, thank you to you, at home for watching. In the meantime, let's look forward to Sunday. We're going to get 3 points. Let's smash the Manx. All right, let's have it, man. For it. All right. Actually, that's Man City. I'm getting all confused.
Yeah, you have to sing Simply Red. Go on, off you go. 3,
Which
2.
song?
Well, pick one. There's lots.
I want to fall from the stars straight into your arms.